Good morning. My name is Oby Ezekwesili, and I am your fellow Nigerian. And if you've been following developments at the...
Please just go ahead.
I just don't
Please, quiet, please.
If you've been following developments since the Senate had its own conclusions on... If you've been following developments since the Senate had its own conclusions on the election bill, following that of the House of Reps that agreed with a reform to the clause in the current electoral bill, the INEC Bill 2022 as amended, on the matter of electoral transmission of results electronically from the polling unit into the Iroele as a clause that was considered not to be a mandatory provision in the 2023 election, because it was considered as one that was open to the discretion of the Independent Electoral Commission. You will know that the citizens came to the conclusion that the Senate is acting contrary to the desire of Nigerians for electoral transparency that will strengthen our democracy. You know that to be so. Many citizens have spoken. I have been particularly loud in stating that if the Senate gets away with a provision that is ambiguous, that gives power of discretion to determine the ifs and the buts, instead of making the clause mandatory that every vote must count in this country. Yes. And that the way that our votes will count is to have this mandatory provision that makes it the core principle of our electoral transparency, that no longer shall our votes be subject to the kinds of TPEX cancellations of results that we saw on the EC 8A in previous elections. And so we as citizens are saying, stop any coup against this democracy. Stop it.
Right.
The National Assembly must realize that they were, well, majority of them were probably not voted in. I wanted to say they were voted in. But it is exactly what they have done all these decades, how many decades now of our democracy? 2 decades of our democracy. It is what they have done that they want to sustain. The only reason they don't want transparency through the mandatory provision for there to be instant, real-time, electronic transmission of the results from the EC8A to the Iroele is because they want to continue to capture our democracy for the pillaging of the Nigerian state. The society is laboring under the weight of poor governance that we have seen so far in our democracy. And now the citizens are saying enough is enough. Enough is enough. There is no reason why people who call themselves Democrats would hate transparency. Do you hate transparency? No. Do the citizens of Nigeria hate transparency? No. Why then would the people who say that they are the Democrats hate transparency? It can only be for one reason. They do not want democracy. These ones are enemies of democracy. Yes. If they should pass any kind of law that does not make mandatory transmission without any proviso to it, because what they are pretending to society now is that they have passed, that what they have agreed is mandatory transmission. It shall. But then, after they said that, they removed all of it. They removed all of it by already putting in many other things that will become the norm. I can tell you that because I did the reform of the of the procurement system in this country. Everywhere that they put any provisos became the norm. The proviso will become the norm. You see, they are already planning and saying that should something fail, why are you making a law that is saying that there will be failure? Why are you introducing network failure and all other things that are extraneous to any law? Every law of a country is very clear without ambiguity. And what they have done is to already they're basically preempting us for the fact that they are planning to do exactly the provisos that they have put to that clause. Is that what we should take?
No!
Should Nigerians who have been battered by this democracy be accepting this kind of a provision?
No!
Then it is important that every one of us should tell every one of us that this is wrong. If these people pass an INEC bill, an INEC reform bill, that already has programmed the rigging for them. If they pass that kind of a bill and they dare to take it to the president for accent, then we should know that both the legislature as well as the executive have decided that the Nigerian people don't matter. Yes, do you matter?
We matter.
Do you matter?
Yes.
Well, if you matter, then you should be standing your ground. They do not own our democracy. Democracy belongs to who?
Everybody.
No, you have to tell me, don't say us, because you could be part of them. You could be part of them that are wanting to do the wrong thing.
Exactly.
So democracy belongs to who? The people.
The people.
Democracy belongs to the people. It does not belong to a few politicians that have rigged themselves into political offices and now wanting it to lord it over the country. This country is not for those people. Have we not had enough?
We have had enough.
It's time to end it. Let me tell you, the most important provision in that bill today is this electronic transmission. Because in the past, nobody knew what was voted in polling units across the country. And that was what enabled them to now do collation that was a wayo collation. Yes. It got to the point where I even had to begin to put out things in pidgin English, just so that Nigerians who say they don't understand this complexity can understand it. It is that important. If you don't care about yourself, at least care for the generation that is coming from you. Because you may be thinking that you are okay right now, but you're not okay. You're not okay if the generation that will come from you will not be okay. Because until you get good governance in this country, the child of the poor is stuck for life.
Exactly.
Do you want your children to be stuck for life?
No.
Your grandfather handed poverty to you. Yeah? Your grandfather or your great-grandfather, as a matter of fact, handed poverty to your grandfather. Your grandfather handed poverty to your father. And now your father has handed poverty to you. And now you're preparing to hand poverty over to your children? Is that what you're trying to do? Well, let me tell you, if we don't get this transparency in the electronic transmission on a mandatory clause, then let me tell you, and you know me, I don't waste my word. I state it the way it is. Let me tell you, if you don't fight for this clause, you're basically saying it is okay for you to hand poverty to your own children and for your children to hand it to their own children. Well, if it is God forbid, you will get more Nigerians to stand and say, we resist this. These people are not greater than us.
Yes.
If we act collectively, this thing will be won. Are you ready to win this?
Yes.
If we don't win it today, we must get ourselves ready. All of the people that call themselves elected people in this country, from the president to all of them, we will stand against them. We will stand against them. I said we will stand against them. So my summary is this, for you, the media. You must let it
into power. So don't say he was elected.
I want you to just know that the summary point this morning is that we, members of the credible election team have come today to let it be known that any election that lacks credibility will not be acceptable to the Nigerian people. 2027 must not mark the end of our democracy. Because if the people that have put themselves into office dare to test the will of the Nigerian people, we will let them know that in collective action, we will stand against them. We will confront their nonsense because citizens have had enough of this nonsense. Just look at Nigerians are killed without there being any consequence. How are you going to continue to agree to that? I was saying recently that nobody even talks about the fact that there is no power in the country. No electricity. Nigerians have adjusted themselves to that failure. Is it correct? It shouldn't be. And so my final word to you is, state it clearly. The text that the House of Representatives passed, is that not the text we want? Yes. That text that the House of Representatives passed, electronic transmission, real time and mandatory, not subject to any discretion by INEC or anybody. Thank you very much. God bless.